Part 1: Receipts, Passwords, and the First Lie. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to go through his wife's things. I trusted Natalie. I really did. But sometimes life cracks open in places you never expected. And once you see inside, you can't unsee it. It all started with a stupid receipt. Not even a suspicious one at first glance. I found it while cleaning out my car. Crumpled, half-torn, jammed between the passenger seat and the center console. A receipt from some high-end restaurant downtown, the Glass Garden, I think it was called, time-stamped for a Tuesday night 3 weeks ago. Only thing is, we didn't go out 3 Tuesdays ago. We didn't do anything at all that night. Natalie had said she was working late at the clinic. She's a dental hygienist, and it wasn't unusual for her to stay an hour or two extra, especially if someone came in with an emergency. But this bill wasn't for one person. It listed 2 entrees, 2 glasses of wine, dessert. I remember staring at it, then blinking, thinking maybe she'd gone out with a friend. That's reasonable, right? Still, it stuck in my mind. Not just the receipt, the way she'd come home that night. She was lighter, happier, almost glowing. I remember thinking, wow, she must have had a good day. Now I was wondering if that good day had a name. I didn't say anything. Maybe I should have. Maybe everything would have unraveled faster if I had. But instead, I put the receipt in my desk drawer and told myself I was being paranoid. 2 days later, something else happened. Natalie's phone buzzed while she was in the shower. I was sitting on the bed, folding laundry, and the screen lit up with a message preview. Last night was amazing. Same time next week. No name, just a number. No contacts saved. I stared at it for a long moment, then quickly turned off the screen before she came out. I should have asked her, confronted her, but I didn't. Instead, I did something I'd never done before. I checked our shared laptop the next morning after she left for work. And that's when I really started to fall down the rabbit hole. Natalie wasn't very tech-savvy. She rarely cleared her browsing history, and sometimes she even saved her passwords in Chrome. I didn't go looking for anything specific. I was still holding on to the hope that I'd find something innocent. Instead, I found a second email address I didn't know she had. Gmail. No trace of her real name in it. Just a string of letters and numbers. It was saved in the browser, and when I clicked it, to my shock, it auto-logged in. Hundreds of messages. Some from someone named B. Others from what looked like appointment confirmations, private chats, even some Venmo receipts. I opened one of the messages. My heart dropped. B. Can't stop thinking about last time. When are you free again? Natalie. Soon. He's getting suspicious though. I'll say I'm covering another shift. I stared at the screen. Frozen. That was me. The messages went back months. Some of them were graphic. Others were emotional. One even said, I wish I could be with you all the time, but you know why I can't. I felt sick. And it wasn't just B. There were other names too. Some of the emails were clearly from different people. Messages with flirty subject lines. One looked like a confirmation for a hotel booking. Another was from a prepaid SIM card company. Was she cheating? That was already devastating enough. But as I scrolled, something didn't add up. This wasn't just an affair. It was organized, hidden, rehearsed. It looked like a second life. That night, I couldn't look her in the eye. She laughed at something on TV, asked if I wanted takeout. She kissed me goodnight like nothing was wrong. And I pretended, because I didn't have proof. Not real proof, but I was going to get it. The next few days, I started watching her more closely. Not in an obsessive way, not at first. Just noticing things. Her outfits on certain days were a little more polished. As she wore perfume on nights, she said she was just working late. Her mood was better when she came back from those clinic shifts. Not tired, not stressed, energized. She deleted texts quickly, always kept her phone face down. Then one night I saw something I wasn't supposed to. We were watching a movie on the couch. Her phone buzzed, and she excused herself to the bathroom. I saw the screen light up just long enough to catch the name. Caleb Bank. That caught my attention. I had no idea who that was. When she was asleep that night, I snuck downstairs and did something I never imagined doing. I checked our home Wi-Fi router logs. Yes, I know. That's crazy. That's insane. I had to look up how to even do it. But I figured maybe I could see what sites had been visited lately. I found something I wasn't prepared for. There were frequent logins to a platform I'd never heard of. Virexoconnect.com. I Googled it. It's a private network for high-level business professionals, mostly used for encrypted communication, file transfers, and client meetings. Natalie is a dental hygienist. What the hell was she doing on a corporate encrypted portal? I created a fake account and tried to join the site. Couldn't get in. You needed an invitation or a corporate access code. I even tried asking around on Reddit. Someone there told me, VirexoConnect is used by private consultants and freelance fixers. If your wife is using it, she's either consulting under an alias, or she's involved in something confidential or illegal. I didn't sleep that night. That was when I started wondering if maybe I didn't even know who my wife was. And the deeper I dug, the less I recognized her. Her LinkedIn, it was outdated, yes. But then I found a second profile under a different last name. No photo, but same education, same early job history. And then it diverged. This version of Natalie worked in private risk analysis. No company name, just independent. And a list of skills: discretion, conflict management, international mobility, secure communications. What the hell? By the end of that week, I wasn't even sure if Natalie was her real name anymore. And I hadn't even confronted her yet. Because something in my gut told me, whatever she's doing, it's bigger than just cheating. And the moment I ask her about it, this whole web might come crashing down on both of us. Part 2. Hidden Patterns. There's something uniquely cruel about questioning the reality you thought was yours. It's not just the fear of betrayal, it's the disorientation. The floor underneath you begins to shift. You wonder how long it's been like that and how you missed it. After I found the unfamiliar transaction, that damn floral shop charge in a city she never mentioned going to, my mind was on fire. It would have been easier to dismiss it if it was one thing: a rogue receipt, a mistaken charge. But something about it, it didn't fit, and it cracked something loose inside me. I didn't ask her about it. Not yet. Instead, I started looking deeper. Day 1, small things that aren't small. I went back through our shared account statements. I hadn't thought to do it before. I trusted her, always had. But now I was scrolling through transactions line by line. Restaurants she said she was too busy to visit. Ride shares in the middle of weekdays. Amazon orders that never showed up at the house. Then I noticed something stranger. A few months ago, a recurring transfer had started. Every 2 weeks, like clockwork, $300 withdrawn from our savings and sent to what looked like a secondary checking account. I never noticed it before because the description was so innocuous. Transfer, Allied FCU. I thought it was maybe something she set up for savings. But why every 2 weeks? And why had it started just 5 months ago? I opened a spreadsheet, started logging everything. Dates, amounts, descriptions. Every anomaly. Day 3, the second phone. I was at home when I found it. She was in the shower. I was grabbing laundry from the floor of the closet when I bumped one of her boots. Something inside rattled. I pulled it out. A phone. Not hers. It wasn't the one I saw her use. No case. Older model. I powered it on out of instinct. It still had battery. It wasn't locked. That phone was like a crack in the universe. A separate life condensed into a rectangle.
No social media apps.
No photos.
No contacts.
But one thing stood out, the messages. An app one didn't recognize at first. Some encrypted messaging platform. Not WhatsApp, not Signal. I tapped it open. The conversations were short, vague, but chilling. Him. Sunday still good? I'll have them back by 5. Her. Yes. I'll park around the block like last time. Him. I think she's starting to notice. Her. Then we'll have to be more careful. There were dozens like this. The names weren't saved. Just numbers. No photos. No context. But it was enough to make my skin crawl. She was meeting someone regularly. She was exchanging. People? I'll have them back by 5. Them? Kids? I had to know more. I couldn't confront her. Not yet. If she was hiding this, she would deny everything. I needed something solid. A full picture. Something undeniable. I bought a GPS tracker. One of those magnetic ones you can attach under a car. I felt sick doing it, like I was crossing a line I could never uncross. But something was already broken. I attached it to her car the next morning before she left for work. That evening, she came home at 6:40, same as always. Kissed me on the cheek, dropped her bag, made pasta. We watched TV. She laughed at the same jokes. But when I checked the GPS data later that night, my stomach dropped. She'd driven to a neighborhood 2 towns over, parked in front of a house, stayed there for 3 hours. The house belonged to a man named Kevin L. Rowan. I Googled him, found a business listing. Nothing criminal, nothing odd. Just a normal guy. So why was my wife visiting his house? And why, on the same day, had she bought kids' clothes from a Target 20 minutes away? Patterns begin to form. I started noticing changes in her routine. She began taking longer showers. Her phone was more often face down. One night, I heard her talking on the phone in the backyard. She was whispering. When I came outside, she jumped and said it was a work call. I pretended to believe her. I stopped sleeping. My mind ran endless loops. What if she had another relationship? What if there was a child involved? Was that possible? We talked about kids. She always said she wasn't ready. She cried once when I brought it up. Told me she was afraid she wouldn't be a good mother. I believed her. But maybe that wasn't the truth. Maybe she wasn't ready with me. The hidden account. The next time she left her laptop unattended, I opened it. She rarely logged out of anything. I checked the browser history. She'd been logging into an email I didn't recognize. k.rosalind.j@gmail.com. I tried logging in. Didn't know the password. But then I checked saved passwords. There it was. I held my breath and typed it in. The inbox opened. And there, dozens of flight confirmations. Hotel reservations. Most from months ago. Some recent. Destinations. Denver. Nashville. San Diego. All places she'd never mentioned traveling to. All trips she took alone. allegedly for client strategy meetings. Attached to one confirmation was a note. Your reservation at Wyndham Nashville has been confirmed. 2 queen beds. Guest, Rosalind J., Kevin Rowan. My blood went cold. That was the same Kevin Rowan she visited 2 weeks ago. My wife, Rosalind, was checking into hotels with him under a different last name. J. She was Rosalind J. Not just to him, to flight companies, to hotels, to banks. There were multiple identities. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, she made coffee like nothing was wrong. I studied her every movement, every blink, every tap on the counter. Was this the same woman I married? Or was she just playing the role? I sat across from her and asked something simple. Ever been to Nashville? She paused just a second too long. Years ago. Work thing. Why? No reason. Just saw it on TV. She smiled. Country music not your thing. She wasn't flustered. She didn't fumble. She lied with grace. I almost admired it. Almost. But behind the smile, something cold settled in me. She'd done this before. Many times. She wasn't reacting like someone caught off guard because she was never off guard. Then came the package. 3 days later, a small package arrived. Addressed to her, but with a different last name. Again, Rosalind J. I brought it inside. She wasn't home. The curiosity overwhelmed me. I opened it. Inside, a small photo book, the kind you order online. Inside were pictures, candids, Polaroids of her, and a little girl, about 5 years old. Same eyes, same hair. In one photo, she was holding the girl's hand in a park. Another showed them decorating a Christmas tree. Caption, first holidays together. And then a final image, a family shot. Her, the girl, and Kevin Rowan. He had his hand around her waist. The child sat between them. My wife had a second family. I sat in silence for hours. I remember the sound of the refrigerator buzzing, the neighbor's dog barking, the faint tick of the hallway clock. But inside my head, absolute stillness. I wasn't even angry. I was numb. This wasn't just cheating. This was another life. An entirely separate identity. A man, a child, a home, a name. Who was I to her? The fake one? The distraction? Or had she started with me, and he was the affair that grew into something else? I thought about our wedding, her vows, her tears. Were they real? Was any of it? I wanted to scream, to punch a wall, to destroy something. Instead, I sat and planned. I needed answers, real ones. The next day, I called in sick. She left for work at 8:15. By 8:30, I was in my car. I drove to Kevin Rowan's house, parked 2 blocks away, waited. At 9:03, she arrived. She didn't knock. She had a key. I waited 3 more hours. Then I walked up, rang the bell. She answered, wearing sweatpants and no makeup. Her face drained of color the moment she saw me. What are you doing here? I looked past her shoulder, into the house, and saw the little girl on the couch, watching cartoons. She looked up at me and smiled. Daddy? She said. Part 3, the confrontation. The word echoed in my head. Daddy. She said it with innocence, with familiarity. Like she knew me, like I'd been there all along. But I had never seen that child before in my life. My wife, no, Rosalind, turned white. She doesn't know, she whispered. You weren't supposed to. I pushed past her. She tried to block me, but I was done playing polite. Inside, the house was warm, lived in, A fireplace, framed family photos, toys strewn across the carpet. One photo caught my eye. It was the three of them, smiling at a beach. The caption on the frame, "Our first trip to Maine, summer 2023. I looked at my wife. You told me you were at a yoga retreat that week." She opened her mouth, closed it, then she sat down, heavily, as if her body gave out. "I never meant for this to happen," she said. She started talking. She told me everything, or so I thought. She met Kevin before me, briefly. They dated in college. Lost touch. Then, 2 years into our marriage, she reconnected with him through a professional event. An old spark lit again. She said it started innocently. Then came the lunches, the calls, the late-night confessions. Kevin was going through a divorce. Vulnerable. Alone. She helped him heal. The child? That wasn't mine. That was Kevin's daughter from his previous marriage. But the way the girl said, "Daddy," it wasn't just a slip. My wife had been around so often. The child thought I was part of her world. Worse, my wife had told Kevin she was separated, divorcing me. She had a whole script, parallel reality. I listened without interrupting. She wept, shook, begged for me to understand. "I never stopped loving you," she said. But her eyes told a different story. She wasn't just sorry she hurt me. She was sorry she got caught. I left without a word. Back home, I stared at our wedding photo. She looked radiant in it. She wore the same necklace that I saw her wear in one of the pictures at Kevin's house. She recycled lies like outfits. I checked the drawers, looked at our shared documents, her journals, receipts, credit cards. Things started making sense. All the late nights, the canceled vacations, the random charges in cities she had business in. She'd been living two full lives. One with me, one with him, and we were both in the dark. I wasn't even sure if Kevin knew about me, truly knew. Couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with him, laughing, holding hands, tucking that child into bed. A life I was never meant to see. A life she built behind my back. I opened my laptop and started digging deeper. A digital trail of deceit. First, I checked her email. She always kept it open on our shared computer. She never thought I'd care. But she had filters. Smart ones. Anything from Kevin, or anything containing keywords like retreat, yoga, or Maine, automatically rerouted to a hidden folder called admin. That folder had over 2,000 emails, conversations, bookings, plans, even photo attachments. They had a routine. Wednesdays and Sundays were their days. My stomach turned. That meant every other Sunday when she'd visit her aunt, she was playing house with another man. She even sent him selfies from our bathroom, the one she redecorated just last year. I remembered arguing about that stupid wallpaper. Now I knew why she wanted it to feel new. She was staging it for someone else. I found his social media. Kevin wasn't private. He posted pictures of Rosalind often, always with vague captions. "My anchor. Some angels don't have wings." I noticed he never tagged her, and she never commented. It was all compartmentalized. A hidden life with me, a ghosted presence with him. I scrolled months back and found a video. A birthday party. His daughter's 6th. The camera panned. Kids ran around. Then I saw Rosalind, wearing a floral dress I thought she had thrown away 2 years ago, sitting beside Kevin holding his hand. Kevin's mother sat beside them. They looked like a family.
No guilt. No hesitaschen.
Just smiles. My world began to fracture. I started questioning everything. Was I just a backup? A placeholder? Were the tears at our wedding real? Was that miscarriage she had even mine? That thought destroyed me. I never brought it up, never accused, but I couldn't help wondering. Everything was poison now, even the memories. I printed out some of the emails, a few photos. I put them in an envelope, and I sent it to Kevin with a note. She's been living two lives. You deserve to know. And then I waited. The next call changed everything. It wasn't Kevin who called. It was Rosalind, screaming, crying. Why would you do that? You ruined everything. That's when I realized Kevin didn't know about me. Not really. She had built a different story for him. According to her, I was her ex-husband who still clung to hope. Kevin had believed they were building a future together. Now it was ruined. She begged me to meet her. I refused. Then I got a message from Kevin. Meet me, man to man. I need to understand. The meeting. I met Kevin at a neutral spot, a small park between our two towns. He was taller than I expected, built like someone who chopped his own firewood. His eyes were tired, confused, angry. He held the envelope I sent. Is it true? He asked, no hello, no formalities. Yes, I said. Everything in there is real. He looked down, silent for a moment. I have a daughter, he muttered. She calls Rosalind Mommy Rose. I froze. Wait, you said she's your girlfriend. She moved in last year. My knees almost buckled. She had a whole second home, a second life. Kevin sat down on a bench, hands trembling. She told me her ex was abusive, that he stalked her. That's why she never posted anything with me. Said you still tracked her. Couldn't breathe. She painted me as a monster to protect her lie. What else is she hiding? Kevin and I talked for hours, compared timelines, and something didn't add up. She was with me in Miami last July, he said. That's impossible, I replied. We were in Italy on our honeymoon. We stared at each other. Two different realities, overlapping. She had been flying back and forth, lying to both of us, playing puppet master. And then Kevin said something that chilled me. She has a burner phone. I found it once, locked, hidden in a drawer. When I asked, she flipped out. My heart dropped. I knew that phone. She kept it in the back of her closet, in an old jewelry box. I always assumed it was dead. The phone. When I got home, she wasn't there. I tore through her closet, found the box. The phone still had charge. No password. Inside were messages from people I didn't recognize. Other men. Some were short-term flings. Others, long, emotional threads. Some messages were in Spanish. One thread was in Russian. Rosalind had multiple identities, multiple names. In one thread, she called herself Lena. In another, Maria. One man sent her money weekly. Another talked about meeting her son. Son? She had a son? Or was it another lie? I felt like I was losing my mind. The confrontation. When she finally came home, she looked wrecked. Her eyes red, makeup smeared. She didn't speak, just dropped her keys, sat on the couch. I stood in front of her, held the burner phone. She didn't react, like she expected it. Why? I finally asked. My voice broke. She looked up at me, cold, empty. Because I had to survive, she said. What does that mean? You wouldn't understand. Try me. She stood up, walked past me. You already destroyed everything. What's left to explain? I didn't stop her. She left that night and never came back. One last twist. A week later, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a birth certificate. A child. Born in 2018. Mother's name, Rosalind Carter. Father, unknown. Child's name, Isaac Carter. My name wasn't on it, but the photo, that child looked exactly like me. Part 4. The truth I never wanted to know. The birth certificate. I stared at the photo for hours. A little boy, wide brown eyes, a dimpled smile that looked eerily familiar. The paperwork said his name was Isaac Carter. Carter, my last name. Born in 2018, 2 years before our wedding. And 1 year after Rosalind and I started officially dating. I tried to calculate, to rationalize. Could it be mine? Had she hidden a child from me? Or was the name a coincidence? A cover? Another manipulation? My hands shook as I picked up my phone. There was only one thing to do. I called Kevin. The meeting again. He showed up the next morning. This time I didn't meet him in public. I brought him into my home. We sat across from each other in the kitchen, silent for a minute. Then I placed the photo in front of him. He stared. Then his eyes widened. Holy SHT, he muttered. That's him. That's the kid. That's Isaac. My chest collapsed in on itself. So, she told you? She said he was mine. But I never saw a DNA test. I nodded, then pulled out the hairbrush, Rosalind's, and the toothbrush I stole from Kevin's house on the day of our last meeting. I was done guessing. The test. I sent the samples to a discreet lab 2 towns over. Paid cash. Used a false name. Waited 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks were hell. Couldn't work. Couldn't sleep. I walked in circles at night like a madman. Rosalind didn't return. Didn't call. Didn't text. It was like she vanished into thin air. Then finally I got the results. Kevin, not the father. Me, 99.98% match. Isaac was my son. My son. And I had never seen him. Never been told. Never even suspected he existed. The weight of it nearly crushed me. Digging deeper, the test raised more questions than it answered. Where was Isaac now? Was he with Rosalind? Who was taking care of him? I hired a private investigator. Cost me a fortune. But he was good. Within 5 days, he had a trail. Rosalind had moved to Nevada. She was staying in a small rental house near Reno under the name Maria Cortez. She enrolled a boy named Isaac in a local preschool. But the man listed as father on the forms? A guy named Marco Delano. Someone I'd never heard of. My blood went cold. She was doing it again. Starting over. With my child. Confrontation 2.0. I flew to Reno. Waited outside the preschool. Watched as she arrived in a gray Honda. Wearing sunglasses. Hair dyed black. Isaac in the back seat. He looked perfect. Healthy. Laughing. Holding a little dinosaur. My heart shattered. I waited until she stepped out of the car. Walked up slowly. She froze when she saw me. Don't, she whispered. Don't what? I said. Don't ask why you lied about our son, or don't take him away from your new boyfriend. She looked around nervously. Not here. I'm not leaving without answers. Then follow me. The motel room. She took me to a cheap roadside motel on the edge of town. Isaac stayed with a sitter. I sat across from her at a cracked table with a flickering lamp overhead. Why? I asked. She exhaled like she'd been holding it in for years. You wouldn't understand. Then make me. She sat back and began her story. Rosalind grew up in a cult. Not a stereotypical one, no robes or chanting, but one where men ruled and women obeyed, where independence was sin, and leaving meant being disowned. She escaped at 19. No money, no education, just survival instincts. She learned to become what people needed her to be. Some people lie to hurt, she said. I lie to survive. She met me during a low point, fell in love or thought she did. But when she got pregnant, she panicked. I didn't think I could be a mother. Not then. So I left. Had the baby alone. Came back. Told myself it was better if you never knew. I stared at her. Numb. And Kevin? I asked. An escape route. Someone I could disappear with when things got too real. And the others? She looked away. Insurance. Money. Protection. Lies I told to stay alive. I wanted to scream. Instead, I whispered, You stole my son. I protected him, she said. From me. From you. From everything. The offer. I told her I'd file for custody. She didn't fight it. I won't stop you, she said. He deserves better. Just give me time to say goodbye. And she did. 2 days later, she brought Isaac to me, kissed him gently, told him he was going on a big adventure. He didn't cry, just smiled. I wanted to hate her, but all I saw was a woman who broke herself into 1,000 pieces trying to outrun her past, and ended up breaking everyone else in the process. The end? It's been a year now. Isaac is with me, full time. He calls me daddy. He plays with Legos, loves pancakes, hates broccoli. Sometimes he asks about Mommy Rose. I tell him she loves him, that she's on a trip. One day, I'll tell him the rest. But not yet. As for Rosalind, I don't know where she is. Maybe she started a new life. Again. Or maybe she finally stopped running. All I know is this. You never really know someone. Not until you see who they are in the dark. And by then, it's usually too late.